I want to put this up. Back when I first came to Roanoke, and this would be October the 20th of 86, so it was within the time span that in, about 5 years later, I've forgotten the exact date, I went into the law library building. Was across from Channel 10, and may still be. It's where the sheriff and etc. you go in. I guess it's a courthouse building. Anyway, I walked into the law library because I was put into continually trying to have one civil right. Just one. And I'm not kidding you at all, if this is ever told, and I'm alive. I walked in, and I asked the law clerks, there were two, and the rest of the office, and it's a big one, was empty. There were no other people there that I saw. I said something to her about who I am, and they knew before I came here. Let me clue you to Roanoke who I am. They said something about they couldn't help me, and they referred me that I could look here or there. I didn't know where to start, really. When I turned around, they were gone. But they had the book open, and when I walked back up there, they had this big book open, and here's what it was, and I can't remember the code, but it was 43 or something. I just looked up 43, and that's not it. Now, whether they've changed it, it was what it was when she laid it open to me, and can't remember if they really said something before they walked out. I didn't know they were walking out. But it was under the guise of Virginia state law. And meaning, that's what they're doing to me. They did it in Alabama. They did it in Georgia. They've done it by the United States. In other words, I have no right under the guise of. Now, I want to do this. I know that in Norfolk, was it Norfolk or Richmond? I can't remember, but this has been some years ago too, not long after then, that I was at the bus depot there switching buses. And there were a group of young men. They were with the Virginia National Guard. And they walked up to me, and they were young fellas. I didn't know why they walked up to me, but one of them was walked up to me, and he was stating to me that he said, "You wouldn't be alive if we had not been protecting you, and we're still protecting you," I believe was his words. I didn't quite get it all. I know that I'll leave it at that, because law enforcement, so he's with the National Guard, they were. Now, whether they still do that, you have to go through the governor. It doesn't give a rat's who I am. Look at all that's been done to me, being done to me and my family. And I know that you can't see it all, and I'm not sure a lot of people care, because I've been told that many times. I was told by Secret Service. Now, Secret Service is supposed to protect foreign leaders, I believe I'm right. I know he's supposed to protect, they protected illegal Elizabeth when she was coming years ago, and this has been on the TV several times about her being protected by the security that protects your president. And the state troopers, I guess it were in front of her car coming out of California. I don't know where she's going, back to D.C. But it's when one of the cars was hit. And I believe I'm correct that one of the state troopers died in the car. But that's been on TV, and I've forgotten the total thing about it, because at the time I didn't know about being kidnapped and who I am, and Elizabeth's illegal and stole the monarchy, her and her dad, and took down my father, Edward VIII, with lies. And he never married Wallace. He was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe. Everyone should be in an uproar over this. It's a horror story. But anyway, let me get back to what I was going to say. This is I have to say this. I think the state troopers probably, some of them in the state were my friends. I hope so. I know some of them were. Uh, anyway, for whoever did try to help me, I really appreciate it and take care of me. It's been a horrible life to know that people hate me and want me dead because they are the ones that broke the law. And they try to frame me and make me the bad guy. How in the HELL can I be the bad guy? I was 2 years old. My father wouldn't go along with the Illuminati, the global government that installed Elizabeth's father, illegal George VI, and thus her illegal monarchy and claim to it. So, anyway, let me get to this. I was told, and I don't want to step on any toes because they can still hurt me. And I got enough people wanting to hurt me and have. Anyway, this is when I was living up in the National Forest, simply to be off the street, to have a place to go. I didn't have food most of the time up until I was able to get a little money. My jobs were blocked. And get a tent and sleeping bags, which weren't always warm at all up there on the ice and snow on the Appalachian Trail. Okay, I'm just going to say that there was someone who was a special agent. That's all I'm going to say. She told me, they came up there, she told me that this is how we circumvent the law. Now, I'm not going to get into the murders that happened on the Appalachian Trail. Look them up if you care to. This was done with mind control in part that I'd been talking about. I was writing about mind control when Larry Flint was shot. And I keep saying that because Mr. Flint, everybody knows who he is. He was shot. He was shot by a program shooter. And he flew me out there later in '83, and I never met him. And I was in a political campaign to replace one of the congressmen, Dr. Larry McDonald, who I had written about, and he was the criminal. And his plane went down when it flew into Russian airspace. Supposedly he was on it, and Nixon was taken off, so they knew it was going down. It was Juneau, Alaska, KAL that was flying out of there August 31st of '83. Anyway, I'm getting away from my point here, I guess, trying to tell it. But Larry Flint was shot. This is going out now, I'm going to have to hurry. Larry Flint was shot in '78 when I was doing the book. It's how they put chips in bypasses and in any part of your body. And you're programmed, you don't even know it. Just like Timothy McVeigh said the Army put a chip up his buttocks, and he blew up the Oklahoma City. He's very right. They did, and he died. But you've got Terry Nichols that's still in prison there. I believe he's still in prison. Okay, circumvent the law. This is what she said to me. This is how we circumvent the law. And she was a special agent in charge, okay? She said they were my friends. But I'm going to read this to you. Maybe they weren't. Sometimes they might have been. A lot of the times it was very wrong what they did. Circumvent the law, the meaning, it's a verb, and it's got a long list. I mean, about 6 times what I'm about to say, and I'm going to get off. I don't have any rights. I'm the real monarch, Queen Victoria II. My father's Edward VIII, who never married Wallace Simpson. You got a woman up there is a total criminal. And to do the things and keep quiet when they are bringing up my father as abdicating to marry Wallace Simpson and become the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, they're bringing that back up. She's never stepped up to the plate and told about me, told about my father, that wasn't my father. She's allowing it to be used even now. What kind of cold-blooded killer can do that? Elizabeth. That's exactly who in that bunch of thugs are. Okay, now then, I want to read just a bit of circumvent the law. Now, exactly how did they mean that? In hurting me? Wasn't that what she was really saying under the guise of pretending to help me? Circumvent is a verb. Avoid doing, being cunning, being sly, beguile, bypass, cloak, conceal, confuse, contrive, cover up, deceive, default, mislead, goes on and on. Under the guise of Virginia state law was the other one that was in the law clerk left open. And I don't know if you can see this or not. When they can do it to me, they can do it to you. And that's what the FBI agent said in Atlanta back in, well, it was a little bit before I got the letter in 1979. Ongoing investigation, national security involved. He said, you know what you do, what's happening when you tell this, and he pretended to yawn. He said, you bore them. It won't be until they find out how it affects them that they care. Well, that's not caring for me. And I've had it right in my face to tell me, I mean, you should see some of the situations where all these supposedly kind people can't wait to get away and quite frankly tell me to go to hell. They don't care. There you go.